day 2 is over with, and I have the women's 52 kilo up on the board. Let's take a look at the results. So here on the left, you can see my results and what I predicted the flow of the event would be. Here on the right, you can see what actually happened. So let's go ahead and mark this up to see where we ended up. So definitely did a good job having Bouchard all the way into the final, and also Abe. I think that was kind of an easy prediction, and we did it right with Japan coming through to the final. So we did pretty good down here. We have Abe and Japan in the final. I think one of the things that we also predicted really well was the Italian coming through all the way into the semi. And we also did a good job of bringing the Belgium girl over into the quarters. Here, did a great job too. I mean, like I was saying before, the women I think were a little bit easier to pick out. So on the lower half of the bracket, we nailed it all the way through. We missed some of the earlier rounds, but again, you know, like here, this one was great. We had Israel winning down here. We had Morocco winning here, so we're right there. The only one we missed was Poland beat Brazil. So again, still pretty accurate, feeling pretty good about that. Let's come over here and take a look here. This is where everything went awry in Pool B, right? I was off on the Portugal girl beating Angie. She actually threw with a beautiful Sode in golden score. It was really impressive. Hopefully that highlight ends up on Instagram. I'm also off here and here. So this whole bracket right here, I was wrong in, right? All of Pool B, 100% off. Spain actually came through. Kosovo actually came through. Should have stuck out with the seeds. I was saying it before that on the women's side of the bracket, you can really rely on the seeds because I don't think women have the depth as the men do. So they've really earned their seeds as far as the countries go. So it should have been an easy pick to come all the way through. You can see I pretty much did that down here where I ran the seeds all the way into the quarters and then picked the higher seeds to actually come through all the way into the bottom part of the bracket. But up here at the top, we were good with Georgia. We did it right with Russia in the first round. But again, Korea came through and actually came through into the quarters and then lost. So again, we were pretty good down here. Up here, you know, things happened. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, right? Like, I don't think anybody has Kelmendi not coming through here. But man, when you watch it, I watched this match and I was like, I can't believe the Hungarian girl's doing it. You could see Kelmendi's attitude in the match, just like, what's going on? Why can't I throw this girl? Every time Kelmendi tried to get her leg in for Uchimata, Ogoshi pumped the Hungarian, did a really good job of just scotching her. She just pulled her legs together, stepped across, got her hip involved, and knocked Kelmendi down. And I don't think Kelmendi really had a good, solid answer for that situation. So, man, we didn't see Kelmendi come through. She's out in the first round, former Olympic champion from 2016 at this weight class, out in the first round. But we come down here, and again, it is what it is. We did a pretty good job here. You know, we had the Italian coming through. I think the only difference is I didn't have her beating Pup. In the final, I had Russia. So that was off. And then we were off here as well, just because that other side of the bracket was so off. I didn't see the British girl coming all the way through. I had her losing to Belgium here. So this round was a whoopsie for me. So looking back, I guess I didn't give the British girl enough credit in her like fight and desire to win, you know, at this level. So if I come over here, I had to actually pull up her stats to really get a look at what we were dealing with and why she was off my radar, just to give her a little bit of credit. But at the end of the day, when we're looking at this, right, scratched off. These results are actually from this year. So her gold and her silver are from 2021. So when I was thinking about the draw, like, I'm thinking of the whole quad because I'm a firm believer in consistency. If you can show consistency over the quad leading into the Olympic Games, we can actually make a better prediction on you being into the finals and into the later rounds to fight for a medal. Because if you wake up with a headache, if you feel a little with an upset stomach because your food was undercooked, if you slept bad, all those things, you don't have to play into a factor. Some people have really awesome days because things go really well, and then when things don't go well, they have really poor days. And that inconsistency can cause you to miss out on an Olympic medal. So I'm always thinking about the consistency of athletes, and you can see right here, even at the Continentals, nothing, right? So she fought well all day, so I pulled up her results here, and let's just take a look at how she did. So match 1, I'm not sure where this is, but she's 252 in the world, so easy win. She starts working her way up the bracket, right? Versus Morocco, world ranking 30. She pulls it off, no golden score matches. Then she hits match 3, which of course I think in her head, she's gonna try to win, but she doesn't think she's actually gonna beat Abe. So she ends up losing. And down here, this is the match she pulled out. Right here, look at that. You could tell she went to battle. And I think what happened, the Belgium girl, Van Snick, is a little older. She has tons of experience, but you're talking about a young, hungry British girl out to prove a point, who is getting wins at the tournament of her life. And so mentally she's feeling strong. And the longer these matches go on, the more confidence those younger players get. And you can see it right here where it just goes the distance and she ends up pulling it out in the end. And then right here, again, just because if we go back to the bracket, right, and look at how Swiss got here, right? She gets here because she beats the seeded person right here, comes all the way through, and then comes all the way through, right? I don't know if you guys can see that. There we go. But the big thing here is she beats the Spanish girl, so the seeded player first. And then what happens is she actually gets all the way to the semi because Kosovo loses in the first round. So some things, they just fall into place for you at the draw where it's like, man, because Hungary fought her butt off, Kosovo loses, again, coming all the way through, she actually ends up winning this match. And then when we come down here, right, you put the Swedish girl here instead of Pup because she lost in the quarters, right? I don't think she beats the Korean and comes through, right? That's just my opinion. I think the Hungarian girl is just fighting her butt off. So just how the draw plays out, who beats who, what those matches are with those unseeded athletes, you just never know what's going to happen. I still think if Zantarai has an easier first match, he comes out guns a-blazing in the second round, he comes out guns blazing in the third round, and he's feeling himself into the tournament. But when that first match is a battle, right? I think the guy had to get taped up 3 or 4 times. They were bleeding, they were tired, they were going at it. It just is what it is. But interestingly enough, if I pull out the eraser here and we scratch all this off, right? One of the things on the women's side, if we come over here, right? 32 matches in the women's bracket. There were 2 extra players, so you got an extra 2 matches. The other thing, though, is 10 of those matches were only golden score, so we're looking at right around 30% of the matches are going into golden score. But check this out. Of the 32 matches, look at the Shidos. Only 5 matches resulted in double Shido. So if we come back over here to that women's bracket in this top half, look at that. In these first rounds, man, they were tough first rounds, right? Tough first rounds, and then the final went the distance. But at the end of the day, you can see that when you're looking at the meta, when you're looking at the men's, I think you're seeing people go the distance because I think the strength, the physical strength of the men at the lighter weight classes and the athleticism is a little bit higher. So you're seeing more Shidos because of that intimidation factor. I think the women, when they're able to drop and they're able to turn, I think it's a little easier for them to knock their opponents down and make it an official attack rather than an actual, like when you're looking at the men and you see some of them, it's like, man, they're grabbing and they're trying to bring their hips and they start to feel like they're getting picked up off the floor, right? When you watch the Israeli guy at 66, he kept on his hands and like he was literally picking guys up off the floor and they're sprawling their feet back and then he's dropping them and it's like, hey, Shido, and it's like, if I didn't do that, I felt like I was going to get thrown. So I feel like the men, you're just going to see a lot more of the Shidos, but in the women, the strength for the women, they're all pretty much comparable. I thought Kelmendi and Abe were two of the stronger players with Bouchard up there as well. But again, like when they hit those attacks, I think the women have a much easier job knocking their partner over, where the men, when somebody attacks, they can stand their ground a little bit more and kind of pick them off the floor and make it look bad. So you see the refs passing out more Shidos. And so I just wanted to throw it out there that for the women, I mean, it's not even comparable. Like the actual judo that comes out of this, it may not be as flashy, but it's clearly better judo because we're seeing less Shidos, less golden score matches, but more matches as a whole. So the actual judo portion as a whole is a little bit higher on the female side. But at the end of the day, that's the 52 kilo weight class for women at the end of day 2 of the Olympic Games.